Badlands. Explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name.
Mr. Vice President, I'm going off script again, I know, but I just want to personally thank you. We've been through some stuff. We've gone through some of the most complex military operations this country's ever conducted, and your steady hand and your leadership during those was a great source of strength for me. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your character. Thank you for your selfless service. Thank you for commitment. Thank you for being a mentor to me, Mr. Vice President.
It's called the swamp. And you know what happened? And you know what I did? A big favor. I caught the swamp. I caught them all. Let's see what happens. Nobody else could have done that but me. I caught all of this corruption that was going on, and nobody else could have done it. Did I get that one right? Every 4 years, we gather on these steps to carry out the orderly and peaceful transfer of power. Today's ceremony, however, has very special meaning, because today we are not merely transferring power from one administration to another, but we are transferring power from Washington, D.C., and giving it back to you, the people. For too long, a small group in our nation's capital has reaped the rewards of government, while the people have borne the cost. Washington flourished, but the people did not share in its wealth. This American carnage stops right here and stops right now. The forgotten men and women of our country will be forgotten no longer. From this day forward, a new vision will govern our land. From this day forward, it's going to be only America first.
This is a president of the United States who is a danger to the republic.
America first.
He knows he's an illegitimate president.
The oath of office I take today is an oath of allegiance to all Americans.
The great Trump recovery.
America will never be a socialist country. I will fight for you with every breath in my body.
Russia, Russian, pro-Russian, Russian, the Russians.
Russia.
And I will never, ever let you down.
A dangerous virus is spreading rapidly in China, and U.S. officials are very worried that it could come here.
This is really the worst attack we've ever had. This is worse than Pearl Harbor. This is worse than the World Trade Center. There's never been an attack like this. The time for empty talk is over. Now arrives the hour of action. What they're doing is using COVID to steal an election. Together, we will make America strong again. You know what it's about? Fraud, fake ballots. We will make America wealthy again. They are trying to steal the election.
Now, under the leadership of President Trump, we are fully realizing President Kennedy's prescient view of Special Operations Forces.
We will make America proud again. And watch, please, those mail-in ballots. We will make America safe again. And in millions and millions of ballots, their vote is under what they thought they needed. They're dumping more ballots in there, okay? And yes, together, we will make America great again. Thank you. God bless you. If we are right about the fraud, Joe Biden can't be president.
Congress, the chair declares the joint session dissolved.
All right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to a special little bonus Devolution Power Hour with what I think is one of the biggest confirmations I've seen to date, if not the biggest. Like this is crazy. And Patrick, you're not even 100% sure what's going on right now. So
all I know is, well, there's a partial revocation of Executive Order 13961, which is the subject of the longest devolution part 13 in the devolution series on Substack. And it was the executive order that outlined continuity of government.
Yeah, and that's the part I think I want to go into a little bit, some context, because I posted this post here. Let me share my screen. I came across it because I've been checking the Biden White House every now and then just to see what he's doing on his way out the door, see if there's anything interesting. I posted it at 10:07, and it's already got 140,000 views. That is so abnormal for one of my posts, and a lot of what I'm seeing is people being like, "What does that mean? Like, what? I don't even understand what this is." So we'll give a little context. We'll explain what this means and what I think it means, and then we'll get you guys out of here. But I think this is pretty incredible. So first, let's read the post, Patrick. Then we'll do the context, and then we'll go into actually what this revocation does.
Okay. So you want me to read the executive order on the partial revocation, or
well, here? Let's just read the actual from the Biden White House website.
All right.
On January 19th.
Yeah. Executive order on the partial revocation of Executive Order 13961. By the authority vested in me as President by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, and as Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the United States, it is hereby ordered as follows. Section 1, revocation. Sections 1, 3, 4, 5, and 7 of Executive Order 13961 of December 7th, 2020, governance and integration of federal mission resilience are hereby revoked. Sections 2, 6, and 8 of Executive Order 13961 are renumbered as Sections 1, 2, and 3, respectively. Section 1 of Executive Order 13961, as renumbered, is amended by striking the clause "to achieve this policy in conjunction" and inserting in its place the words "in conjunction." Section 2B of Executive Order 13961, as renumbered, is amended by striking the clause "the Executive Committee established in Section 3 of this order" and inserting in its place the words "the Restricted Principles Committee described in Section 3 of the National Security Memorandum, NSM, of January 19th, 2025, National Continuity Policy," which of course we can't refer to NSM.
Yeah, it's not posted yet.
Yeah, okay. There's another National Security Memorandum, and that's a Biden document.
Yep, it's the only one that he's issued. And we'll talk about this too and what it means. But let's finish. Well, I guess the rest of this is pretty boilerplate.
Okay.
Nothing there. But the meat of this is this right here. So for the context, guys.
Yeah.
Devolution Part 13. And for those of you not even aware of what the Devolution series is, in like right after Trump left office in January of 2021, he walked away from a stolen election. An election, I think he had every right to interdict in that. I think he had the evidence, all these things. And trying to make sense of why he would do that when he was the legitimate winner of the 2020 election, started researching, came across Thomas Wichter, and he was writing about this subject called devolution. And I started researching, writing it. And I have this whole devolution series about all the little bits and pieces of evidence that were left behind by Trump, showing that he implemented some sort of continuity of government plan before leaving office. Okay. And I call it devolution. I don't even know for sure or for a fact if that's what the people doing it are calling it. But one of the most significant pieces of evidence that we got came in the form of Executive Order 13961 from December 7th of 2020. And this is Article 13. If you go to devolution.link, Part 13, this is where I go through this article in great detail. Okay. We won't read through this all, but some of the key points of this is a continuity of government executive order, which is issued with the authority stemming from the National Security Act of 1947. All executive orders come from some form of authority. They draw on some sort of authority. The authority drawn on here was from the National Security Act of 1947, which is Title 50, War and National Defense. So a continuity of government executive order drawing on authority from war and national defense. Very interesting.
So section 1, as summarized by ChatGPT, section 1, purpose, and this is incredibly short. This section establishes the purpose of the executive order, which is to ensure the continuity of government in the face of all threats, including catastrophic emergencies. It emphasizes the need for a unified, integrated, and comprehensive framework for continuity planning, outlining the national continuity policy and associated programs. The goal is to maintain government functions and services under any conditions, ensuring resilience and national security. That section has been revoked.
Yep, this is one of the sections revoked by Biden today, like tonight. So this new EO, okay, and this is why I think it's so crazy. So let me give a little more context here, and then I'll explain why I think this is so important and so insane and such a big Devo proof. This executive order has multiple sections. One is obviously a big one, but another section is section 3. Section 2, all it does is it talks about the federal mission resilience strategy, and there's this entire separate document that was issued at the same time as this executive order, outlining what the current federal mission resilience strategy is. And there's some interesting comms in there too. But section 3 actually creates an executive committee, which is to implement and execute a plan of continuity of government, shall facilitate execution of the plan and other continuity policy. Section 4 is talking about the implementation plan and how they're going to implement this thing. Section 5 is talking about an amendment to PPD 40, talking about who is going to be the national continuity coordinator. Section 5 of this is having to do with secure communications. It amends Executive Order 13618, and it brings in the director of the OSTP. And I mean, this whole thing is crazy, okay? But I believe that this was implemented as part of Trump leaving office and implementing some sort of continuity government plan. We've been talking for a long time that there's all these proofs that we've come across kind of showing this is in place, not just from stuff that was left behind by Trump before he left office, because there's a ton of that, but the entire purpose of this show has been to pick up on things that are happening in the day-to-day while Biden is in office that kind of allude to some sort of continuity government plan being in place. And what we mean by that, when we talk about it anyway, and maybe this definition has changed as we go, as we learn more, but the best metaphor I can think of is it's the baby in the playpen, or baby proofing a house. Like Biden is put in office, but continuity government, devolution, prevents Biden from doing certain things. Like there are contradictions. He doesn't have the nuke codes, maybe. He doesn't have access to the PEDs. He goes and tries to get us back into the Iran nuclear deal while our military is bombing Iranian-backed militias. All sorts of these contradictions took place throughout the entirety of Biden's administration and his term. And while that's going on as well, we're especially towards the latter half, when Trump got on, or when Musk got on Twitter, we'd get these repeated questions of who's really in charge here? Who's really in charge here? It's definitely not Biden, all these things. Okay. And then the day before Trump gets in office, Joe Biden revokes multiple sections from this executive order. And let me double check which sections he revoked here. So 1, 3, 4, 5, and 7. Okay. 1, 3, 4, 5, and 7. He revoked the initial section 1, which you said has to do with the policy. Section 3.
Purpose. Section 3 is policy.
Yep. No, section 1 is
no.
Policy.
Section 1 is purpose.
Section 1 is literally titled policy.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Thanks, ChatGPT, making me look like a dickhead.
Yeah. Section 3 is the executive committee, the one that we said probably had the most important role of setting this thing up. With the whole point of it was to facilitate the execution of the plan. Section 5 or 4, implementation. Section 5. What did I say section 5 was? Oh, the national continuity order. Joe Biden's executive order revokes all the sections that are actually important to running some sort of continuity government plan. To me, this is signal that it's like, okay, devolution phase over. We're getting into Reconstitution. Yes. And I mean, and the timing of this has been here for 4 years. Biden hasn't touched it. The day before he leaves, he removes Executive Order 13961. I bet I have said EO 13961 1 million times in the past 4 years. By
far the most referenced executive order on Badlands media.
For sure. And my mind is just blown by this. I don't even think I fully I fully comprehend how big this is. I mean, you could just look at this and say, okay, well, he's just doing his own thing. He's setting up his own thing. He did release his continuity policy as an NSM, which that's another interesting thing. When Trump set this up, an executive order implementing what I believe to be some sort of continuity of government plan, he used an executive order. He didn't go through his national security directives and bring in all the national security apparatus. He avoided and bypassed the NSC in a lot of ways by doing it through EO versus doing it through like a PBD, or for him, it would have been an NSPM. But we don't have access to Biden's NSM. We don't know what it does. But he removed all the key things, but left the three things he left in place were number 2, which is, let me pull this, the strategy, which is interesting because he just released his own. But he left section 2 in place. That's interesting. Number 6, which was the director of the OSTP and secure communications. And then number 8, which is just like the boilerplate language at the end where it's like nothing shall supersede, blah, blah, blah. So holy shit, man. Like we've been talking, especially since the election, like what comes next.
Yeah.
We're not going to get any proof of anything. And I'm not necessarily saying this is proof of anything. It's just, I think it's big signal. But in terms of like what comes next, the next phase of a continuity government plan is reconstitution, which is things returning to as close to a prior incident as possible, like prior to the emergency situation, which caused you to go into some sort of continuity government. Once you're back to that kind of pre-emergency phase, that's reconstitution. We've been saying, well, he's setting up his reconstitution cabinet. He's got different personnel, all these things. Once he gets back in there publicly, like that's the beginning of the reconstitution phase. And now the devolution executive order is essentially revoked the day before reconstitution officially kicks off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is so dasting.
John, I've seen quite a few people in the chat saying things akin to explain it to me like I'm 5. So let me just, there's going to be a certain contingent in the audience that maybe came in late or maybe joined our kind of community late. On December 7th, 2020, Donald Trump issued Executive Order 13961. Now remember, this is between the stolen election and the fake inauguration of Joe Biden. Of all of the things that Donald Trump did during that time, again, we'll call it the interregnum, the time between the stolen election and the fake inauguration of Joe Biden. Of all the things that Trump did, and there were very many that indicated that there was a devolution term being put into place. Executive Order 13961 was the one that laid out every part of how devolution would work, how continuity of government would work. And now, right before the end of the fake term, that executive order is essentially being revoked in every meaningful way. I hope that helps to those of you who've been asking for a boilerplate, simple explanation.
It's like them saying, okay, the devolution phase is over in an unnecessary way. And I see people in the chat like Big Berg out, you can't have devolution if the devolution public can revoke devolution. I think that's where the confusion stems from. Pretty sure Big Berg out might be a troll if I'm wrong on that. But anyway, we talked about this.
I've seen the name a bunch of times.
Okay, so I could be wrong. I apologize if that's the case. If you're earnest, I totally apologize. If you're not, then. But anyway, we just talked last night on the show about Mike Johnson and what he said about Biden, how he had no idea what he's doing with all these things. Joe Biden himself did not do anything here. This is not Joe Biden revoking Executive Order 13961. Joe Biden hasn't written anything that he's signed into law or whatever these past 4 years. That's my belief. And it's always been that way. He's being controlled in some fashion. And there's a lot of reasons to believe that whoever is writing the documents for him, whether it's a Judas goat or whatever, they're inserting their own little things for him to sign that are helping further the awakening, whatever. The fact that this got revoked now and not anytime these past 4 years, not any time prior, that's like the significance here. Not that Joe Biden revoked anything here. I don't think he has any authority to do anything anyway. This is signal, guys. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense to me. Number one, not a partial revocation in any meaningful way. It's a full revocation of all the stuff that mattered.
Yes.
And without Executive Order 13961, whatever the structure that was put in place to have a devolution term is no longer in place. It is formalizing, okay, this phase is over. It would have no importance if there were not some kind of continuity of government operation taking place. Why on earth bother revoking such an executive order if nothing like that was in place? It would be a toothless executive order.
Exactly. Like, man, like it
is not confirmation.
No,
because that's different. But this is just such signal indicating that it is extremely consistent with our view of events over the past 5 years. And it is inconsistent with any other interpretation that we can think of.
I don't want to call it necessarily confirmation, but it does feel a little like vindication in a lot of ways. It's like we get so much shit for believing devolution is in place, and even though I feel like it's the most like sourced theory to explain what's been going on these last 4 years, like there's so many instances you can point to. There's so many documents if you go through this series. There's Executive Order 13961 is by far the biggest, most important, but there's so many different things that point to this. Just go watch that compilation video that I'll pin it back to my profile again. But all of that, and then the one thing that I didn't even have this on my radar. I didn't see this being revoked. The one thing that would serve as like some sort of confirmation of or vindication of you were right about this is them literally ending this executive order at this time. There's no better time because literally tomorrow we're in the next phase. It's insanity.
Yeah, dude. Literally 12 hours from now. TikTok.
My mind is blown.
Yeah, I got a little of that going on myself. You know what else? The other thing is that we had this weird, January 19th conservative incorporated studded ball that took place. And I watched it as long as I could, which was like 5 minutes, but it was very Con Inky. I want to think that something less Con Inky is going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah, I have no idea what to expect tomorrow. We are going to be covering it for sure. We're going to have coverage. I think we're starting about an hour before, so that'd be 11 Eastern, and we'll go for a while. I'll join pretty close to inauguration. I might kid still then, but yeah, I don't know what to expect tomorrow. But this is just nuts. I'm going to see if Burning Brett will come on because I think he's done.
He just rated you.
It's my worst nightmare.
Oh gosh. I'm excited, man. I was kind of bummed out by some of the stuff that got said by Lara Trump. I don't know if anybody noticed, but she just came right out and said, well, now we've restored faith in our elections. We had a free and fair election in 2024. And I can't think of anything more untrue that a based and red-pilled avatar of the resistance could possibly say. So yeah. I want more people I want a lot of people to be a little bit alarmed that she said that, because that's Eric Trump's wife.
Yeah, I want to go through the chat and see what people are saying about this, because I do see questions coming through. I don't know if you want to monitor the chat as well and see if you see anything. So if you guys have questions about like what we're trying to explain here, if you're new to this.
So Dixie Mom says if COG is over, there's no need for Trump to be inaugurated, right? Valid question.
I mean, you could put it that way, but he's going to do it anyway. He's gone through all of this as if it's actually been happening regardless, right? So why would he not go through the inauguration? But yeah, I understand what you're saying. Bernie Bright did say he might pop in if he gets permission. So kind of a bitch, if you ask me. But yeah, we'll see. Are some people going to be rug pulled tomorrow? I don't think so. Did we explain why this is like so nuts? Did we do a good enough job?
I think we did a pretty good job, considering the fact that it just hit, and a lot of the proof comes in after the inauguration, I think.
I don't. This is good, Robin from Texas. What do you mean by that? Good comes in.
What do you mean?
Well, what you just said there.
Well, I mean, a lot of the proof that we're looking for is probably going to be evolving over the next 15 to 18 hours.
Maybe. So in terms of proofs, like I don't expect to see, I really don't and haven't expected to see much confirmation of any of the Devolution series stuff. Like this might be the biggest confirmation we'll get.
Yeah.
Like I'm anticipating having to dig through Office of Legal Counsel documents to see if PEDs have been updated to 59 or 60 or whatever.
Yeah, we need National Security Memorandum, which is a Biden document.
Yeah.
And by the way, if this is as John is describing it, going back to that question, what's the need for an inauguration? The way John has described it, and by the way, that doesn't mean it's the way it is. It's just one theory that happens to fit the facts. And that is the playpen theory, that you keep the national essential functions protected while still allowing this motley crew of usurpers run of the executive institutions. And so you could still have a ceremonial figurehead, limited President Joe Biden, who will step down at the end of the prescribed term, while at the same time, patriots have been in control as well.
Okay, we have like 5,000 more people with us now than we had when we went live. So, and people are asking to explain it one more time. And I think this is probably the best way I'll be able to explain it. Okay. This is an article I did a while ago. Does devolution require Trump's return? Or I hypothesize that yes, it does. And this is why. Phase one is you get the executive or you get the devolution plan ready to go. You have it all laid out. And a lot of that was done with Executive Order 13961. There's a committee in there, all these things. Executive Order 13961 is the meat and bones of what it took to implement devolution. There's a lot of other stuff in there, but just let's go with that. The event or the threat, you could look at this a lot of ways. Was the event the stolen election? I usually look at this as it's not just the stolen election, but them going through with stealing it and Trump not actually pulling the trigger on reversing it, the January 6th stuff, and then the phase and activation of when they actually went into an operation, some sort of continuity government operation, phase two, at least by January 20th, Joe Biden's inauguration. The day before Trump left, there was thousands of text messages saying the COGCON alert got lowered, meaning they're moving to the next phase of getting ready to implement some sort of continuity government. So again, it was activated around that time. What we've been going through these last 4 years, based on what we've been talking about since we started writing the series and started doing these shows, is the continuity operations. They're protecting the national essential functions. That doesn't mean they're controlling everything. I've never believed that. They are basically making it's the baby proofing of the house. The Biden admin can do a bunch of shit, a bunch of damage, but they can't actually burn the house down. What's up, Ernie Bright? Yep. What we just got now is revocation of 13961, which is like basically putting a big old check mark next to phase three, concluding phase three, the day before phase four starts, the day before we've been theorizing phase four starts, which is the Reconstitution phase, the next phase of a continuity government plan. It's just massive. I don't want to use the confirmation word because I hate that word, but it's massive vindication. It's massive erection on my side. Let's just be honest.
Well, it can only be so, Matt. It depends on what you're working with.
Yeah.
Yeah, Patrick, we know you've been working out.
He
was still bigger before.
This is my most comfortable position.
So, yeah, John, would you say just initial reaction? Obviously, I wasn't able to read that during the show. That this is the biggest proof in your mind? Because I mean,
it's in terms of a big devil proof, the timing of this, because this could have been done at any point, but it's like it's major signal that this is being done the day before. We've been hypothesizing that it's like, okay, that's the Reconstitution phase. It's his Reconstitution cabinet. We're kicking off this next phase when Trump gets back in there, and now it's like we're going to revoke all the county to government stuff that's no longer needed if you're right about what phase we're going into. I mean, the timing of this is insane.
So what is the current continuity policy then? Was there one before that?
Yeah, PPD 40, and PPD 40 is still the continuity policy unless Biden superseded that. We don't have access to the NSM, but
we don't
Trump
have access to PPD 40.
We don't have access to PPD 40, but Trump didn't need access to or we didn't need access to PPD 40 to see that Trump implemented some sort of continuity government plan. You know what I mean? That's what 13961 was.
So can you explain? Did you already explain this? But the timing point you just made sounds really interesting to me. In that, I guess what would be the central narrative explanation, if there could be one concocted, for why this would be done at all, first of all, and then secondly, the timing of it.
Like a mainstream media narrative? I
guess. I mean,
I haven't.
What is the narrative of why this would be being done?
I haven't even looked to see. There's nothing on the website. It's just the executive order. There's no like other
does it
remarks
explain,
about it.
I missed it obviously when you're reading it, but does it explain what it means by partial revocation and what is being revoked and what is
it revoked these 5 sections. Section 1, which is policy, outlining what the policy is of the United States to have a continuity policy to protect against all threats. Section 3 is the creation of the FMR committee, right? Which is the committee that we've talked about for the last 3 years.
Federal Mission Resilience.
Yep. Section 4, oh gosh, I'm gonna have to go back in there. Section 4, I believe, is the National Continuity Coordinator. Because I know that I don't know if that's Section 4 or 5. I don't remember. Okay, Section 5 is the National Continuity Coordinator. Section 4 is implementation. So you have the policy outlining what it is, the committee that's set to execute a plan of continuity government, 4, the implementation of a continuity government plan, 5, the changing of the National Continuity Coordinator, and 7, hold for processing. Let me just pull the executive order up. This will be way easier.
Or I can just have Chat GPT.
Yeah, you could. Oh, 7 is program support. So like all the things that we've talked about supporting. I have to get the N word in here. We talk about the public-private partnerships. Like to me, everything that was revoked is everything that was needed to actually execute devolution or continuity government while Trump is gone. Does that make sense?
Yeah, we've got 2 people in the chat saying, please explain Reconstitution. It means you end the continuity of government because you can go back to normal operations. Isn't that?
Here, I have an actual definition. You want to read this?
With some level of stability, right?
Mm-hmm. Reconstitution is the final phase of a continuity event and is the process by which surviving and or replacement personnel resume normal operations. Reconstitution may occur at any designated location that provides the staff, facilities, and systems necessary to sustain essential functions and activities to resume normal operations. Reconstitution activities reestablished non-critical missions, functions, organizations, resources, and services as they existed prior to the crisis event. Reconstitution is a combination of personnel, facilities, and IT systems and equipment actions taken to rebuild or replace the staff, facilities, and communications and IT capabilities as soon as possible after an event. As an element of continuity, Reconstitution currently supports sustainment of MEFs, minimum essential functions, while managing the resumption of normal operations. Since Reconstitution activities should begin as soon as possible after a continuity event, the organization's co-op plan, continuity of operations plan, co-op O plan, I don't know what O plan means, will identify a Reconstitution team by organization and position, including the leadership, staff, and resources dedicated and separate from existing continuity support. In most cases, extensive coordination will be necessary to repair or rebuild the original facility or procure a new operating facility, backfill staff, reestablish communications and IT infrastructure, restore essential records, and take other actions to return the organization to normal operations.
A co-op plan is continuity of operations operation plan. Read this paragraph, this next paragraph, because this is like the main point that I made in this article, which I wrote back on March 29th of 2022, does devolution require Trump's return? Okay.
The key phrase from above is resume normal operations. And this phrase is one of the reasons I believe Trump comes back as part of the devolution plan. The normal operations before devolution was initiated had Trump as the president of the United States. Therefore, returning to normal operations would mean we would be returning to operations that had Trump as president of the United States.
So Reconstitution phase starts when Trump
takes the oath of office.
Is in the Oval Office as president of the United States, and the Executive Order 13961, which laid out the continuity government plan, is like, okay, we're going to just take this away now that Trump's back tomorrow. We no longer need the devolution plan. Like, this is why I'm freaking out, and I don't even think I can adequately put this into words why this is so exciting.
So go back to Butler and that chart that said Trump leaves office right after COVID went like full blown. I think that's the beginning of your devolution.
Could be. Definitely could be. It's hard to pick when. I just know that the devolution, like the event phase, like them leaving office, him leaving office, Biden getting put in there, that to me was the kickoff phase. But we could play it all day. There's so much evidence that this was implemented. Like, I've had no doubts about that. But this is the reason proof in a lot of ways.
I like that what Patrick said there. And I know we've talked about this, but one of the things I've always, from a control perspective or whatever, not even control, from a planning perspective of what you would need, the type of structure of a plan that you would need to successfully implement a devolution operation. And by that, I don't just mean start it off, but like for it to continue in a successful manner, mission-focused manner throughout the Biden administration. It has always seemed difficult to believe that it was a reactive posture, right?
No, like, it wasn't. No.
Yeah. So maybe technically they left office after that, but it, you know, them implementing it earlier that year makes a little bit more sense.
Maybe
you don't need it either way, but
see, back then, the way I look at it is the stolen election. Like, they weren't 100% sure that they were actually going to go through with stealing the election. And I think there were still decisions to be made of what move Trump was going to make in terms of, like, I don't think he needed to leave office. Obviously, the way he did it, everything, 4 years into it now, it played out just the way it needed to. But you're right. Like, we could debate when this thing started all day. To me, the proof is there that it was implemented. This was used. There's too much proof to ignore. And this is why we've been talking about it for 4 years. Like, it's there. And we can map like reality onto continuity government's been in place. Like, we've mapped reality onto that. We do it twice a week on the DPH, and we've done it since, what was it, August of 2021. And this is like the biggest signal I think I've seen that I don't want to use the word confirmation, and I'm not going to, but it's like vindication in a lot of ways that we've been very over the target with what we've been discussing, because this is, and I didn't even see this coming. I did not expect it.
Yeah. Have you ever floated any version of this, of this executive order being revoked at all during the Reconstitution phase? Sorry, did you say that you would need to revoke the CEO to enter a Reconstitution phase?
I don't think so, but I know I've talked about, I know I have talked about, because throughout the last 3-4 years, there's been a lot of executive orders that Biden has reauthorized. Executive Order 13848, 18, 98, I think. And this one gets brought up. It's like all the most important executive orders are still there. He's revoking oil lease executive orders left and right. He's doing all the things that you need to do to red pill people, but all the important ones are still in place. And this is one of them. Like, he didn't touch this for 4 years. Yeah. And then the last thing he does as the Devo term president is the one that we think made him the Devo term president, because he's no longer the Devo term president anymore. Fucking insane.
Our boy Blue.
Yes.
People have been sleeping on our boy Blue the last few months. He hasn't been in the narrative, and he's just been biding his time for the Biden his time. Get it? That was an accident.
That was perfect. It was beautiful.
Man, I think the reason you're having some like cognitive dissonance with this is that
me?
It is well, a form of cognitive dissonance in that it's almost such a cartoonish confirmation. Like if you were to draw up something for them to do, to be like, just give us a sign, like perhaps do the thing on the last day of the Biden administration that would pave the way for the Reconstitution phase.
You know what? That's such a good point, John. They didn't have to revoke this.
No, they didn't.
You just leave it in place. Who gives a fuck?
Right.
Who gives a fuck?
You've got yourself a perfectly good continuity plan in Executive Order 13961. There's no reason to fail back to PPD 40.
Right.
But they did. Why? I don't know. Maybe to give John Harold a little bit of confirmation after all those years of being treated like shit by these fancy people.
And a lot of Q people shit on me too. Devolution can't be real, but Q it like again. We don't need to get into that.
Well,
but
technically, it's not real anymore, John. As of
True.
right now, it is no longer
done.
real.
You have to change the name of the show.
The Reconstitution Power Hour just doesn't have it.
Fuck, you got to it first.
I just paid to have a new thumbnail made. God damn it.
Man, yeah, I think, partly I'm asking stupid questions because it's like it's sort of like this is what it looks like, like it when you see it.
Yeah.
I think we're just trying to circle around that's what I meant by central narrative, not just the story, but full devil's advocate. What possibly would be the impetus for doing this if you're wrong, right? If the devolution plan was not implemented, what could possibly be the reason, to Patrick's point, of doing this?
I don't even know. I don't know.
I'm trying to think of a hypothetical, and that's tough.
I don't know.
I don't think there is.
Like you can, let's say you're going to make the argument, because I'm sure this is going to come. Okay, well, maybe this is just Biden implementing some sort of devolution plan or something. And I hope they do that, because then that's like confirmation that that's what Trump did. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But Biden's wouldn't hold any weight. But no, I don't see that here. This is just, like you said, cartoonish. And I hate using the word confirmation. I'm not going to use it, but like, I don't see this as anything else. Like, I can't. I don't know what else this could be. The night before Trump takes off, Trump's back as president tomorrow.
He's maybe reconstituting the office of the president.
I feel like I'm going insane.
Well,
yeah,
and it's because we've been gaslit by a psychological operation for 4 years now. And for some reason or another, they still have to issue documents that are completely on the level.
Yeah. It's like the reversal of the satanic permission stuff, right? Like, we've got to put it out there that we did this. It has to be done according to the rule of law, right? It has to be done publicly, but to get all the Q stuff going, it's also the choice to know will be yours. A confirmation, quote unquote, like this is cartoonish to us, but is something that for 99% of Americans plus will never even enter their sphere of
they don't care.
Awareness.
No.
And yet for us, it's like, there it is. There's a big blinding spotlight retroactively on the last 4 years.
Maybe I got unblocked on Truth Social by some people. Let me go look.
Can you tell?
I don't know. We'll look though. But yeah, man. Yeah, so I mean, we're not going to do like an all-night stream with this. I just wanted to. I didn't know how to put any of this into a Twitter post or reply to explain why this is so exciting to me. And so I was like, let's just go live.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
Guys, we're just going to need to take a deep breath for tomorrow. I think there's a possibility that this isn't going to be a garden variety inauguration.
Maybe.
He's still on for the rotunda, right? That was.
I don't think so. Last I heard, I'm not even sure where he's going to have it right now.
Really, I didn't see that.
Yeah, there's a couple posts, but I didn't see anybody like saying it's fake news that they're going to do it at the White House, and I don't know if it's changed since then either. But
we're almost up to 11,000 people.
That's nuts.
Pretty cool.
And we've got like 3,000 over on Twitter, YouTube, so that's cool as well. Yeah, especially for a spontaneous stream. Should we go through some Rumble rants, and like if there's any questions, good questions, I'll pay attention to the chat.
I did not pull up the Rumble rants this time.
I got them.
Excellent. So we're going to go from bottom to top.
Yep.
Okay. $5. Badlands Media fan. Love all your work, John. This is as much a confirmation as Devolution followers ever could have hoped for. Congratulations, scroll down, to the best autist in the present day during the fog of war. Agreed. Thank you, Badlands Media fan. $2, Fatman79. Welcome, Reconstitution Power Hour. Got it, too. $5, Wedged Gravy. Why would Trump undo this with 12 hours left to go? We're wondering the same thing, other than just to give us the confirmation that we need.
It's the attaboy we've been waiting for.
Well, I wanted to, I mean, again, playing devil's advocate, this is a revocation of the executive order, right? So even with the devil's advocate, but the parts it's revoking are what would have been necessary for continuity of government, right?
Yes, for what we've talked about being in place the last 4 years.
So the point I'm making is that even if we're trying to create a devil's advocate argument of that this could be the outgoing Biden administration trying to interfere with something, it doesn't really map, because if anything, I don't see how that could benefit them in any way. I'm literally just stretching to try to find a devil's advocate.
You should stretch more. It's good for you. But also, like, what good is this going to do? It's not like all of a sudden stuff like this. It takes a little time to get the ball moving and get set up in place. It's not like Biden issued this thing and all of a sudden the lights went out on all the continuity government stuff that's been going on the last 4 years overnight. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like the people that have been protecting our power grid or the nuclear codes just all of a sudden, oh, we're not doing that anymore. This executive order came through. It doesn't go off in a switch. This is a narrative signal. That's what this is. It doesn't happen overnight.
I'm literally trying to look for a different.
Any actual damage this could do, Trump would reverse it tomorrow.
But what damage could it do?
It couldn't. That's the point.
Exactly. We're arguing with each other to see if we can find a way for you to be wrong, and if we can't. So that's not a bad place to be.
No.
There's something up. There's something up, and it's big.
But Patrick, when you said that, I kind of agree with you that we're not going to be looking at just another inauguration. I read that as actually maybe in the most white pill way imaginable. Is that what you mean, or are you thinking like interference type of stuff?
I think that whatever we see tomorrow is going to be part of the plan. And that it might be unnerving, especially to me, because, you know, I'm sensitive and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also, I just feel like this revocation is a good indication that we've been right and that we don't have to be stressed out about tomorrow, even if we are sensitive.
I think that's a good way to put it. This, and maybe I don't want anything bad to happen, of course, even narratively. But maybe this is if it is a calm, there might be more to it than just, hey, here's a pat on the head. It could be a seed being planted to get us through whatever psyops we see tomorrow, right? If there's some black pill oriented psyops, it's like, hey, actually, guys, we just had the biggest Devo proof of all time on the eve of all this shit.
Yeah. We'll be monitoring the whole thing live tomorrow. So we'll see. We'll go through it together, however it goes down tomorrow. I'm going into it with just like, I've been waiting for this day for 4 fucking years. I can't wait. However it goes down, I'm just excited. And we're getting so many executive actions. I'm just ready to shit myself. I can't wait to read through all these things.
Bukkake.
How are you? Okay, so we got to feed these bad boys into Chat GPT and get it to summarize them all for us.
But Kate, you can do that. But I will say, when the continuing resolution was fed into Chat GPT, not a single AI found the part where they were trying to give themselves basically part or power to quash subpoenas. It didn't come out in a single AI, but I found that.
Well, that's why we have you, but I'm going to have other stuff faster.
Yes, you will. That's true.
Well,
I'm not going to read it.
I'm sure on Eye of the Storm and earlier, there's been a million. I mean, the last 48 hours has been like a comms avalanche in all different vectors. And again, looks like Rambo said this in a Rumble rant, but people, there are many types of comms, and the Q people have been talking about comms forever. I think that they're right about many of those comms. But I think the way I had phrased this like 3 years ago or 2 years ago on the Badlands Substack was that Devo and the Q operation, including in the Devo research, have never been competing with each other. They've been the Devo thing to me is the mechanism by which, or partial mechanism by which, the Q plan could be implemented. It's sort of like saying the owner's manual of a car is debunking the existence of the car. So I don't know. Maybe we'll see more. Maybe we'll see some people talking about this tomorrow. But
yeah, I did see that rant come through. We'll talk about it when we get there, because that has been one of the more difficult things to deal with through these last 3 years, is the Q people shitting on me. When
some of them.
Some of them, not all of them. We've like a lot of good ones out there, but a select few. Anyway, let's keep going through these rants.
You bet, dude. Did I skip Brian E. Murphy? Oh, wait, no.
I think you're on
$20, 1027 JS. Feels good, doesn't it, John? Indeed, Joe.
Real good. Thank you, Joe.
$25. Much love. 88. That is exactly what I needed to see before Trump takes office. There is an operation. Your series proves that. Now let's hope it's everything we dreamed of. Indeed. $1. Brian E. Murphy, John, could the Judas goat be Jill Biden? Remember Trump and Dr. Jill at the reopening of the Notre Dame? Maybe. But I think the Judas goat is Susan Rice. $117. Micro tool maker. Thanks, man.
Do you remember the committee that Trump talked about that one time? And we like splurged out on it on a power hour?
I do not.
Let me pull this up. Go ahead and
you bet.
Actually, you know what?
Micro tool maker, $117. Today is the day. I love President Trump and I love Badlands. Thank you, Micro tool maker. And then we also have $2. Truth Seeker 21. 12 hours left.
Hold on, I'm just gonna find. Here we go. I'm gonna play a clip for you guys.
And Becky in the chat says, Patrick, when she said we had a fair election, she did add that it was not because they didn't try. No, I don't accept that as an excuse for what she said. She has to do better than that. We have not had our faith restored in elections, and to say so is simply false. If she thinks we've had our faith restored in elections, then she's not the person for the job.
Check this out.
Who's actually the president, Mr. President?
Well, I think it's a committee of people, and they might not even know who the committee is. They may not even know themselves. Does that make sense? It's a group of people that are in different levels of D.C., and they surround a man that was not the most capable person. By the way, never was.
Right.
But certainly not anymore.
Yeah.
And she's worse than he is. She's worse than he is. And the difference is she was a believer. You know, she was a believer for a long time. She was a Marxist for a long time. She's further left than Bernie. You've heard that many.
Yeah, the important part here is what he says at the beginning. Like, who's actually running the country right now? It's some sort of committee. It's a committee of people. They might not even know who it is. And the big part about that is
continuity committee.
The FMR committee created by Executive Order 13961, which we've been hypothesizing was a major role in facilitating the execution of a plan of continuity. And that section was just revoked by Joe Biden the night before Trump takes office.
And
the team running.
And the National Security Advisor is the chairman of that committee.
Yep, National Continuity Coordinator.
Who we hypothesized would be Robert C. O'Brien.
Yep, because he was the NSA at the time, but it could be his or her designee. But also, Joe Biden revoked, who was the NCC. He revoked that part of the executive order as well. So like I said, every section from Executive Order 13961, which would have been needed to technically run a continuity government plan these last 4 years, was just revoked right before the continuity plan is ending. Just fascinating. Heavy signal. Anyway.
Aggressively heavy signal.
I was going to say on the topic of like craziness coming up to what Patrick said earlier, don't want to get my hopes too up, but I will admit the vibes are good. I could oddly see sort of mass national tension, not on the back of the stuff we usually see, which is like mass negative psyops and J6 type of bullshit, but the opposite. One of the things that is making a lot of news the last few days is Tom Homan talking about that we're going to be going into Chicago and Denver and LA and Miami and New York and like mass deportation Eisenhower model. We might enter a period where, ironically, the chaos looks absolutely delightful to this audience, but the story that's going to be told about that chaos is going to cause that period of strife. So it might be a little bit different than, like we'll be winning, but it's going to look crazy to normies.
Gavin Mell in the chat says the revocation of EO 13961 today effectively closes the chapter on the devolution phase and activates the reconstitution phase. That's the best way to put it. I'm too retarded to have said it any way like that tonight. So,
well, you said devolution is over in your tweet. That's pretty close.
Devolution phase. Yeah, that's pretty close. But that was a great way that chapter has ended. And Mega Brittany, with a devil's advocate question, would Biden do something like this to keep any of the acting director positions in place before Trump's new team gets confirmed? I don't think this necessarily has anything to do with that, because until they're confirmed, there's going to be acting people there regardless. That's my understanding of it anyway. And Ezra Cohen Watnick actually tweeted about that today. Did you see that?
No. What did he say? Is that where he said, just tell this acting person to just go home and tell everybody in the intelligence community to stay at home until we get Tulsi Gabbard confirmed?
Yeah, so he had a couple things. He said, who will be the acting director of the CIA at 12:01 tomorrow before Ratcliffe is confirmed? So that's one thing. And then he had a couple. This should set off major alarm bells for every Republican, regardless of where you are on the spectrum.
The autistic spectrum?
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
Right.
Underscores the need to confirm Tulsi Gabbard immediately, and talking about who's going to be the acting DNI. So, I mean, that's an interesting thought, Brittany, that you posed. Interesting question, but I don't think these two things are correlated. But thank you for the question.
$5. RPRN. Does this have anything to do with the Senate Intelligence Committee having a 12 a.m. closed-door meeting on issues to do with intelligence and national security? Maybe.
I think I saw that was clickbait or like fake news. But if you have a link to that RPRN, I'd love to look at that.
Oh, Ezra also came out and said whatever they release as the JFK files is going to be horseshit.
Oh, yeah, that was kind of silly, too.
Well, I think it was silly. I thought it was interesting. He said, look, they're the intelligence community. They're gonna friggin' release some bullshit, and we need to hold them accountable.
Charlie Forehead said Trump just said he will declassify all files related to JFK. He said that tonight at his rally. And then he says one of two things will be true. The government killed JFK and covered it up and fought for decades to keep people from knowing the truth. Or two, the files will tell us nothing and be incredibly boring and show that we overclassify documents to give unimpressive people unnecessary jobs with silly titles. Ezra quote tweeted it saying, having reviewed the files, I can tell you it's number two. However, what we really need is an independent canvas for documents within the CIA and the IC related to the assassination to confirm that the documents CIA turned over several decades ago are the whole story. But I do think it's silly that a lot of people have been looking at these files being like, the government killed JFK and the government is going to write in the government documents that they killed JFK. Like, they're not going to do that.
I talked about this with Brad tonight, that I think that Ezra was actually dropping like more of a white pill than a black pill there. Charlie Kirk was dropping a black pill because that's all he does. But Ezra was saying, as Patrick said, we need to hold these people accountable. And if you think there's a plan, we probably will. But yeah, the files are not going to be what holds them accountable.
And this part's more interesting than anything. Like, we need to confirm that we actually got all the documents that exist.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, let's keep going.
This is a really generous crowd. Thank you so much for all these super chats.
Yeah.
Let's see. Scroll up, John. $2. Truth Seeker. 21. John cannot hide his excitement. Lol. Let it out, bro. You got it right. $10. Cindy Lou. 2683. Maybe I just don't understand, but does this take away COG protections, the baby proofing, if any big event were to happen tomorrow before the inauguration? I hate thinking that way. Thanks, guys.
No, see, that's the thing. Like I said earlier, this isn't flipping a switch and all of a sudden, like, everything that's been in place. I don't think this has any actual literal effect on anything necessarily. It's a hat tip.
Yes.
Like, there's no necessary reason for this to be issued right now.
It's pure narrative, as you said.
It's a narrative hat tip, guys.
So it's either trolling the shit out of us.
It's just the
That
tip.
too.
Yeah.
Just the tip. There we go.
$10. Parallel 8 Media. Hey, I know that guy.
What's up, man?
What are the implications of this happening before official inaugurations? P.S. John is coming on my show Wednesday. You sure about that, John? You ready for that?
I'm coming on a show Wednesday.
All right, then.
I'm partaking in it.
Did
He
that
invited me. I couldn't say no.
I know it.
Promised me a
$10.
happy ending. That's why. But the implications we just went through. But thank you, Parallel.
$10. Chickasaw Girl. Is there a chance that Trump has been secretly sworn into office? If we were under a COG, did that suspend part of the Constitution? Would January 20th be mandatory?
See, that's the funny thing about this is, like, we don't know, and we've never claimed to know the full details of how this thing has played out these last 4 years. Like, there's a lot of evidence of something happened, and it's like day-to-day evidence that we see that is more proof of something else going on, but we don't know the full details. Like, is it possible that all of these last 4 years were illegitimate, as Chris says, and none of it was constitutional, and Trump doesn't need to be sworn in because we didn't have a real election anyway, and all these things? Like, that's totally possible. We don't know the full details or mechanism of this, but I don't know. Maybe it was pre-recorded tomorrow and we're just going to get a TV show, and I don't fucking know. I don't even care anymore. I'm just so pumped.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped too. Let's see. Where am I? $5. Just Revere. I haven't watched you in years. This is all I need to know. You were spot on, though. Well done, John.
Well, that's cool.
That is nice to hear.
Thanks, Just Revere, man.
$30. Fixed Bayonet. Interesting delta here with Q drop number 562. I believe that one is about January 19th, but I could be wrong. Wait, 562? I don't know. I'm interested, though. I want to know what I remember that drop.
Remember this day.
That's what it is. January 19th. Yeah.
This day being capitalized. That is interesting.
It's also a quote from 300.
$2. Ramble on 365. Jimmy Dore posted a clip of John a little while back. I never would have thought we are united.
Yeah, that was cool.
Until we disagree with Jimmy Dore, which is like 5 minutes later. So, he's fancy.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll take proper crediting to work anywhere you can get it. Most people don't do that anymore.
I mean, at this point, like, dude, come on. Anna Kasparian is red pilled. The Looking Glass. Something about a looking glass. I don't know the rest. And then we have $2. Little Dutchy. Was there any more pardons like Liz? I don't know. Has Liz Cheney been preemptively pardoned?
Haven't none of those been implemented because it was leaked plans to preemptively pardon Liz Cheney, Anthony Fauci, Adam Schiff. I think
he did put out more clemency stuff. Yeah, today he had a statement from President Joe Biden on clemency actions, but I don't think Daryl Chambers, Marcus Garvey, Ravadoth Ragbeer.
Marcus Garvey's dead.
But it was an injustice.
Oh, okay.
It was posthumously granted. Leonard Scott, Kemba Pradia, Robin Peoples, Michelle West. So no Liz Cheney, unless she's using a pseudonym.
Look, $10, Tomo Hawk. Look up Tom Luango. He's following this from the financial side. It'll blow your mind. I like Head Sneech. He's a good guy. I'll check him out again. I haven't followed him in a while. $10, Chickasaw Girl. We are celebrating you tonight, John. Job well done. This is awesome indeed. $100. Thank you so much. Sparrow 64. This is amazing. I'm so proud of you, John. So happy. I've been here since day one. Congratulations.
Thank you, Sparrow.
Indeed. $5, Mary G. Rumbles. But why does Biden keep saying we have not seen the last of him and he isn't going anywhere? Because he will be starring in Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
I agree. I actually think I agree with that.
$50, Terry Carmen. So, Pence back too? I don't think so. I think he's doing something else.
He's going to be there tomorrow.
That is nice. I like that.
I believe that they're actually on Sonic the Hedgehog 4, Patrick. So I just want to correct you.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, I so lose track.
3 already came out.
Fuck. $1, Emerald Dragon 1333. I'm glad to be out plowing so I could join you in this monumental moment, John, in Badlands. Can't wait for tomorrow. Make it count, my friend. $1, Leonce 54. It is at the arena, I hear. I don't know what that is.
I think the Capital One Arena was tonight. This might be what people are talking about. I keep seeing this posted. Can you guys see my screen here?
Yeah, closed business meetings to consider pending intelligence matters.
The Senate Intelligence Select Committee, but it says it's at 4:45 local time, not midnight. So if you have something different, please share the link. But yeah, that's all I got.
$10, Rambo and Friends. I'm pretty sure that it's only ego that separates Devo and Q. I think they support each other. Stoked to see you, as giddy as I am with all of tonight's comms. Likewise. Thanks, dude.
Thanks, man.
$5, Wedged Gravy. Eye of the Storm said Friday is a high likelihood day we get the storm tweet. I suppose you mean this coming Friday. I guess it would have to be.
Pretty cool.
I've recently been thinking that that's going to be Elon. If for no other reason than he's been basically tweeting out Q sayings for months, like little by little getting closer and closer to Q sayings. But who knows?
What's he saying? Isn't it like he says you are the media now and it's supposed to be you are the news now?
You
or
are
something?
the news now. Yeah, he keeps being like one word off in a lot of the things he's saying. So I don't know.
He's going to be like... The low pressure system is upon us.
The squall is upon us.
$1, Tamara C. Flats. Cheers to all the sub grifters. Thanks. No kidding. $11, Claire Cat.
Sub gifters, not grifters.
Gifters.
We're the grifters. The
Yeah.
sub grifters.
Oh.
You guys are the gifters. Thanks to everybody.
Thank you very much. It's late. $11, Claire Cat 367. John, might this revocation be necessary if DJT wants to use current Devo personnel in the new administration? Congratulations and thank you. Godspeed, Patriots.
That's an interesting thought.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that any of the people that were like playing an active role in day-to-day devolution stuff these last 4 years couldn't have been like swapped out if he needed them. But the continuity government and devolution phase is a completely different team than the reconstitution phase. And actually at DNI Ratcliffe, I think he was in the know. He may not have been doing day-to-day stuff, but I see that as like a carryover. But yeah, that's a very interesting thought. I'm gonna chew on that one.
Does X22 actually have you blocked? Why are people saying that?
No, and we know does.
Yeah, totally different guys.
Are you freaking serious?
Yeah, and I've never interacted with him. I don't know why, but he has me blocked on Twitter.
Man.
He uses my stuff though. Like he uses my
like
stuff on the show now and then.
He uses all of our stuff, yeah, and
That's what I don't get. I don't know what I did. People.
It's like the girl in school who likes you, so she's mean to you.
No, there's just like I get a lot of hate from certain people in the Q movement because of bullshit that I didn't even do. I let lies spread because I refuse to comment on certain situations, and
that's why the policy needs to be set everyone on fire.
I know.
And then stomp them out and then cover them in fucking pig shit.
Maybe someday we'll do that. Maybe someday we'll disclose all the things that actually have gone on that we don't discuss. But for now, we don't. So
can confirm. By the way, that has long been Patrick's behind-the-scenes policy.
Yeah, behind the scenes, my policy has always been: let us destroy everything in our path right now.
Yeah, because we could. We totally could, but we don't. We're better than that.
Yeah,
I'm not.
I know you're not.
$5.
The rest of us are.
Big Burgout. Remember that? Oh yeah. So, sorry, $10. Honey Pot Hounds. I'm sensitive too, Patrick. Yes. We sensitive people have to stick together. $5. Big Burgout. Remember the thesis of the weirdo who immolated himself on national TV, CNN, Fox? Discuss.
Which one?
Yeah, it was fake.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the thesis
it supposedly happened during a GART, and I think I was on stage at the time, and I said, "Yeah, that's not real."
What happened?
Guy lit himself on fire, yelling about stuff. Like a
liberal
guy. A newspaper writer wrote a story about a guy lighting himself on fire.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
He was so gay. $5 RPRN. So is it safe to assume that now is a good time to invite Kash Patel on the show?
Gonna try. Hey, guess what, mofos? I do have
John Harold.
I'll always have this. I'll always have Mar-a-Lago.
Where's your left hand right now in this picture?
In his back pocket. No, I probably wasn't even. I was probably doing like the hover maneuver, like not even touching him. Like I don't want you to hate me.
That is the director of the FBI in about a couple weeks. So
just two feds hanging by
on the door, John.
One CIA, the other federal. So we also have $1 Tamara C. Flats trying to keep track of the gifted subs, but alas, I fail. Where we go one, we go all. Thank you.
Yeah,
$5 Honey Pot Hounds. There are varying levels of Q, people. I respect your stance, John. Bravo, man. Thank you very much.
$5. You never went full ham radio. You're okay in my book,
dude. I want to learn how to use a ham radio.
I have one.
Never go full ham radio. Is all
I hear they're difficult, and that sounds like a lot of effort.
Did you ever see that movie Burning Bright, where I think it's like a police guy or fire guy like used a ham radio and he can go into the past or talk to his dad in the past? Yeah, Frequency.
Yeah, we did it on Story Hour a few months ago.
Did you?
I love that movie.
Amazing, it's a great movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jim Caviezel and Dennis Quaid.
That's right.
Okay, $5 up north soon. Patrick, you're forgetting that Lara Trump would probably be closer to the truth than you or I. They could have voting all fixed behind the scenes and ready to roll out during the Reconstitution phase. And if they could, that's just ducky. But when one of the people at the head of our movement says some horse shit like that, I need to treat it like she means it.
And you're very correct that she definitely is closer to the circle. It doesn't mean she's in the inner circle. She doesn't know necessarily. She might not be read in on stuff. And when we see people at the head of our movement, like Patrick said, pushing stuff we don't agree with, like our elections are perfectly okay now. Let's just forget 2020 ever happened.
We can't accept that. Unnerving to hear. That really freaking unnerving. And by the way, I saw her say that right as I was stabbing a button on my phone trying to buy the Melania freaking shitcoin.
Is that out now?
It's out. Dude, the Solana network is a friggin' dumpster fire.
Yeah.
And I sold my Solana after that shit. I was like, wow. I hate
Fuck you, Solana.
I totally missed all this.
I had never used Solana in my life. And I just said, you know what? I'm going to buy me a shitcoin. And no, it's not worth it. I mean, it is worth it if you've got the Solana sitting right there and you can get it in like 10 seconds after they announce it. Other than that, forget it. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. $1 Emerald Dragon 1333. In regards to JFK files, etc., do we even think they made documents admitting what we all know in order to be able to disclose them? I doubt they would make themselves that paper trail. Correcto, in my opinion. $1 Roe Leary 910. Is there any way Biden could be pulling some BS? Well, that's one of those questions that very often will have the answer yes. But I think it's Professor Eggman. So
it's a little confirmation tonight, guys. That's what this is.
Is that the name of the villain in Sonic the Hedgehog? Professor Eggman?
Is that separate from Mr. Robotnik? Those might
That's
be
what it
different
is.
villains.
Dr. Robotnik.
Dr. Robotnik.
I don't know. I just need to ask a child. They know.
Or Burning Bright.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping you would know. $20.
I'm not totally up on my Sonic lore, but I did dabble in Sonic lore in the past.
Kimmy CV, $20. Why are there only 500 likes? Come on, man. Hit the damn thumb. Thank you, boys. This was a great end to a fucked up fake presidency.
Yes, it was.
$10. Grr, Rumblebee. It is not power which overcomes darkness, but light. And behold, the sun yet shines. Uh-oh. That's burning bright catnip right there.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
$5 RPRN. The closed intelligence meeting for midnight today is on congress.gov. I went there myself. John, I think you found that already.
Yep, found that and posted about it.
$5 makes sense to me too. Proof that Badlands is the most over the target media group. Great work.
Thank you.
Oh yeah. $1 Emerald Dragon 1333. I'm plowing snow, you fellow gutter mimes. Lol. I'm just south of Burning Bright.
Speaking of dirty minds,
So
Brad on the
cocaine.
last show was talking about banging it out with guys and doing wraparounds.
Yep.
So, hey,
There was such a freaking awesome moment on Inside the NBA with Charles Barkley and Shaquille O'Neal. And Charles Barkley was talking about being in the post and how the defender can be especially aggressive. But he put it like this. He said, so this guy's banging on him, and he's just being really, really aggressive. And I will tell you something. When a man is banging you and he just pauses and then he's trying to gather his thoughts, and Shaquille just loses his shit and just almost falls on the floor laughing. And then Charles Barkley said, oh, come on now. Anyway, I loved that.
it's funny.
I know somebody who played golf with Charles Barkley recently.
I have a funny
Because he
feeling
works at a
that guy
golf
is
course.
just fun.
Yeah.
I feel like that guy won.
I feel like that guy is fun.
I don't know, actually.
Well, I feel like that guy won because isn't Charles Barkley the one with the crazy golf swing?
Is he?
Yeah, I'm pretty
I don't know
sure.
much about golf.
Does that mean a good golf swing?
No.
He sucks?
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the first things. I didn't even have to finish typing Charles Barkley and it auto-populated with his golf swing. So
I want to see. You do it, buddy.
I'm live.
Oh my god.
This can't be
This
real.
has got to be fake.
Why would he let this get on TV? Why would he?
That's how he always swings.
Is this being
Like Jose Canseco?
Yeah, let me show you.
some Happy Gilmore shit?
That's so
I'm
weird.
sure we could find more.
So yeah, I'm guessing that kid
But he
won.
keeps playing the game.
Oh, apparently he's got a new golf swing.
Out with a wood.
Yeah, get him into
damn it.
All right.
It's painful watching, isn't it? Really, I feel sorry for him because he knows how good he can hit.
I was going to have to rip at the carrot. I
He's
didn't mean that one.
fixing it.
That's amazing.
Oh, that's my.
Hey!
But yeah, you'll have to ask your buddy if he won the golf round.
I wonder how much he spent on lessons to get that final spin, because that looked okay. I mean,
Yeah, the last one was good.
Okay. $5. Big Berg out. In the tumultuous climax of an information war, how does this proof help normies come around?
I don't know if it necessarily does.
I don't think I give a fuck about.
I think this is for us.
Anymore. No, I know. Okay. The normies can just go be normies. I think we need to coexist with them and not worry too much about them coming around. If they come around, great. If they don't, I think we can move forward with the numbers we have without them.
We've got a nice little wildlife preserve set aside for them.
Yeah, a little nature preserve.
Lots of feed.
Yeah, we'll feed them.
Fenced in place. There's tents, gas chambers,
some coloring books.
There.
Just kidding.
And by gas chambers, we mean we just want to oxygenate the air more so that they'll be sharper and happier.
Totally joking, guys.
Yes.
And call the week.
Let's see here. $5, Bubba Ganoush. How will Cash answer questions about Q under oath at his confirmation hearing? I don't know, but it's going to be, I hope it's good. Or it's just going to be real cucky and gay. It's going to be one of those two.
It's going to be similar to the Bondi one. Excuse me.
The Bondi one was kind of cool because Bondi said, yeah, I'm looking forward to his testimony too.
Yeah.
Hello, boy.
It'll be good.
All right. Let's see here. $5 RPRN. Apparently the 12 a.m. was a default time until it was actually scheduled. Phew. I was kind of freaked. Okay. $5 Big Berg out. So a guy faked immolating himself on national TV. No. Big Berg out. A person with a computer typed some shit and posted it, and a fake video of nonsense was posted somewhere. That's no, there's no person immolating himself. That's not a thing. All right. Anyway, that was my thought on this. It's fake. $1. Cam Cooksey. Patrick, please find that clip of Sir Charles Barkley. When a man is banging you, that's, I think, I would try to find it, but John's going to find it so freaking fast, it's just going to embarrass me.
I got it.
And so does the Irishman. Okay.
That's not what Draymond's doing. Draymond is bracing. Yeah. And Joker, instead of going around him, he's just banging and banging and banging. When a guy's banging you, you spin off of him. That was the worst defense against, actually, because if you can feel their body, come on.
18 points for Joker, only Nugget in double figures. 69-59. Golden State shooting 67.
You're way out of order right now.
Back at the pool party.
Way out of order, man.
You didn't need to. We'll take a break and come back with more on the American Express halftime.
That's pretty good.
Was that homophobia?
I don't know. Okay. Then Cam posted he posted the clip too. So awesome, guys.
Did we get through all the rants?
I think we got another one. Ooh. Big one too.
Wow.
Very generous. Thank you.
And thank you, Cam Cooksey, for the video. And then $200 Aqua Eyes. Thank you so much. Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you very much.
That.
Yeah, you guys have been awesome. I mean, for a short notice show, we got over 11,000 people watching. Got quite a few thumbs up, guys. Hit that thumbs up. Again, stay tuned. Tomorrow, we're going to be doing our live coverage of the inauguration. We're going to start an hour early, and pretty much anybody on Badlands is invited to hop on when they can. I'll be there probably 10 minutes before the actual inauguration. I don't know about anybody else. If we'll have anybody there right when we start coverage, we might just have some live feeds going, but we'll get there when we can. Merfster7. John, how much sleep with you be getting tonight? Great day for you. Thanks, guys, for this pleasant surprise. I don't know. I'm going to try to go to bed because my kids are going to be up at like 6:30 tomorrow. So get what little
with a newborn, my answer is none.
Oh,
about to switch shifts, but that's
you
okay.
need a nanny.
That's what Mrs. Bright is for. Just kidding. I did not say that. You do need a nanny.
Oh man.
An
She's
O'Hare.
watching right now. I'm gonna check on the baby cam and see if I can see her facial expression change. If she just heard you say that.
CanCon is doing daily. It might be a shortened show, but we'll see. Also, guys, starting Tuesday is when I start my new show, The Daily Herald. So Tuesday, 1 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you guys tune in for that. It's gonna be every weekday for about an hour, going through the hundreds of things. Damn it, Mrs. Bright's in the chat, and she heard that.
Oh no!
Damn.
I was just joking.
It's like
What's perfect about
1:22
this
a.m.
and I don't know if I'm in trouble for being on so late instead of just 5 minutes, but now if I
look at all those
was in
super
trouble,
chats.
it doesn't matter because you now supersede me.
Okay, well, Mrs. Bright, I don't know if you caught it last week, but this last Wednesday, Bernie Bright called you crabby at the very beginning of the show. Do you remember doing that, Bernie Bright?
I also called her beautifully haggard, I think.
Oh, yep, you did do that.
Yeah, she's less haggard this week. Still beautiful, though.
Terrible.
Yeah, so Bernie Bright's way worse. You should be more mad at him than me, for sure.
Amazeballs.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody, again, for tuning in. I'm on like cloud nine. I can't believe we got this today.
This is really fabulous.
Insane.
Hey, last chance to get your Castor Blend. Castor Blend, 25% off. Use promo code Badlands. TulipBlooms.shop. You know you wanna. All right, I had to get that in.
I envision this day ending with Kash Patel showing up to John's house in the dead of night
and arresting me.
And taking you out back and saying, "You were a good dog, John. I always wished there could have been more between us, but now you must sleep."
I just want a beer. I just want a beer with him. Just want one beer with him.
Oh, so good.
That's all I'm asking for.
He has to buy. Those are the rules. I decreed it like 3 years ago.
But here's the thing. I'll pay for it.
remains.
I don't even care. I'm not going to put any rules on it. I'll pay. Beer's on me, Cash, whenever you're ready. But you know what? For those who are confused about what we went through tonight, I'm going to play this clip. It used to be pinned to my profile. I'll pin it back up there again, maybe. This kind of explains a whole bunch of the evidence that we have of devolution being in place. And devolution phase over as of tonight. Pretty nuts. So thanks, and we'll see you tomorrow on the live coverage.
Bye, guys.
When you actually look at all this stuff, there is documented proof that something different is going on.
And in my second term, which we're sort of having now, but I don't want the results, right?
There's a flurry of moves at the Department of Defense, which Rachel Maddow on TV, like,
Kind of a weird reaction to losing the election, right? Immediately fire the defense secretary and install a new guy.
What should happen is what the plan that we're on now, and I think a plan that's going to make people very, very happy.
What do they think the NSA and the CIA can do if they were suddenly commandeered by Trump lackeys?
So we have some very good controls in place. And they're going to get 3 more years. They rig an election, they're going to get another 3 more years.
Trump was making tons of moves in irregular warfare, specifically having to do with irregular warfare. And then just like a couple months ago, he comes out and openly admits that the last 7 years, our intel agencies have been conducting
illegal psychological warfare campaigns against the American people. I'm a wartime president. This is a war. This is a war, different kind of a war than we've ever had.
Chris Miller, like, cut the red tape for Ezra Cohen-Watnick, the head of special operations, to report directly to Christopher Miller, the Secretary of Defense.
They think it's a trick that I'm playing on them. They think I'm playing a trick.
On December 7th, when Donald Trump issued the executive order which implemented and executed a continuity of government plan.
They cheated, and it's a shame that they're allowed to get away. And let's see whether or not they do get away, because I don't think they will get away with it.
Chris Miller, who's been the Secretary of Defense for like a month and 5 days or something, says we've been through some of the most
complex military operations this country's ever conducted.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, when you rob the store of its diamonds, I always say Tiffany, and you rob Tiffany of its diamonds and you get caught, you're supposed to return them. We caught them cheating. You're going to let somebody that cheated stay for 3 more years? I can't imagine it.
Donald Trump issued 10 national security presidential memorandums in his last 10 days in office. Those specifically deal with national security matters. He issued one every 53.7 days leading up to that point, and he issued 10 in his last 10 days. And some of them are still classified. We have no idea what they are.
If we are right about the fraud, Joe Biden can't be president. But when you're beating the so-called, I say so-called president of the United States, when you're beating him by so much.
2 days before Trump left office, the continuity of government protocol, like the warning system, was sent out to thousands of government employees. And everybody's like, what the hell is going on?
I don't want the results of this second term. This second term is a disaster for this country.